The numerous mysteries concealed in the ocean's depths had always captivated Marina. She was an inquisitive and daring mermaid who was continually investigating every uncharted cove and rocky nook in search of anything novel and fascinating. She once discovered a secret tunnel that she had never seen before as she ventured deeper than normal into a rocky cavern. She swam inside, her pulse racing with anticipation at the wonders that awaited her. Marina observed a faint but noticeable glimmer coming from the far corner of the cave as her eyes grew used to the darkness. She noticed that the light was coming from a tiny, glittering object that was lying on the cave floor as she swam closer. Marina's curiosity sparked and she swam towards the thing, her tail kicking up a wave of excitement. Approaching it, she saw that it was an old and elaborate artifact, polished to a brilliant brilliance and adorned with a plethora of little, swirling motifs. Although Marina was drawn to the artifact's beauty, she was suddenly overcome with an intense feeling she had never experienced before as she reached out to touch it. Marina realized at that precise instant that she had found something genuinely unique, something that would alter her life forever. She had no idea that the artifact would grant her the ability to manipulate the tides or that she would soon have to tackle the difficult challenge of figuring out how to apply her newfound powers to defend her home in the water. With a look of awe and amazement, Marina held the enigmatic artifact in her hand. She didn't know what it was, but she felt a strong thrill shoot through her body the moment she touched it. She gradually came to understand that the artifact had given her the ability to manipulate the tides. She focused intently, and with deliberate effort, she controlled the waves' rise and fall. Marina thought she was unbeatable at first. She had a sensation of control and power that she had never had before. But she quickly learned that immense power also carried great responsibility. Marina found it difficult to restrain the artifact's power. Oftentimes far more forcefully than she planned, the waves would rise and fall at random intervals. It got harder for her to control the tides the more she tried. She was aware that she would want assistance in order to effectively utilize this amazing skill. Marina made the decision to ask the more experienced and knowledgeable mermaids in her community for advice. She believed they would be able to mentor her and assist her in realizing the artifact's full potential. The more experienced mermaids assumed charge of instructing Marina on the principles and operations of the tides. Marina received instruction from them on how to carefully regulate the tides and use them to save marine life. Even though using the artifact was difficult at first, Marina quickly learned to control her abilities and became an expert user. She was willing to do whatever it took to become a true ocean guardian, though, as she was aware that there was still a great deal to learn. Marina became aware of the full extent of her abilities and the heavy responsibility that accompanied them. She was aware that in order to safeguard the ocean and its creatures, she would need to learn how to employ them sensibly and successfully. In light of this, Marina made the decision to consult the knowledgeable mermaid elders who had lived in the ocean for ages and had seen it all. She was committed to gaining as much knowledge as she could about her power and the possible repercussions of abusing it. The older mermaids enthusiastically greeted Marina and expressed their happiness that a young mermaid of her age was handling her abilities with such maturity. They gave her a tour of the ocean's past and explained how the tides were vital to their way of life. They showed her that the tides were the ocean's life force and that everything depended on them, beyond just waves coming and going. The ocean would be dead and stagnant without the tides. With this understanding, Marina realized that it was her duty to make sure the tides were employed to benefit rather than damage the underwater habitat. She discovered how to control the tides to produce currents that carried food for fish and other marine life. She discovered how to use the tides to clean the water and transport trash and pollution out of the habitats of the species. After learning to combine her abilities with her duty to the species that shared the ocean with her, Marina had developed into a real guardian of the sea. She was aware that the underwater world had flourished for ages, and she felt obligated to ensure that it continued to do so for many more. Marina had realized her responsibility to safeguard the ocean and the full potential of her newly acquired abilities under the direction of the mermaid elders. She was going to ensure that the underwater world survived and flourished for many more years. Marina had developed into a real ocean defender by learning how to use her abilities responsibly. A bunch of careless mermaids had noticed her abilities and attempted to take advantage of them for their personal gain, despite her newfound sense of duty. Regardless of the harm it would bring, these power-hungry mermaids desired to use Marina's abilities for their own gain. No matter who was impacted, they saw the opportunity to manipulate the tides and make them do as they pleased. Since they were fellow mermaids, Marina was first hesitant to refuse their requests, but she soon discovered that their motivations were everything but honorable. She was unable to stand by while her fellow mermaids endangered the ocean as a result of their avaricious ambitions. Marina made an effort to reason with them by outlining the significance of maintaining the ocean's protection and balance. She demonstrated to them how their activities will upset the delicate balance of life in the ocean by destroying animal homes. But instead of paying attention, the gang turned to violence. The group became more violent and carelessly utilized Marina's abilities, seriously endangering the water and its creatures. Marina realized that she needed to stop them quickly before it was too late. Marina engaged the bunch of careless mermaids in a violent struggle with the support of her fellow guardian mermaids. At all costs, she was committed to preserving the ocean. The power-hungry mermaids were subdued and calmed by Marina and her allies after a fierce battle, persuading them to stop and undo the harm they had done. Marina never let her guard down after that day since she was aware that people with bad intentions would be drawn to her abilities. She persisted in teaching her fellow mermaids the value of putting the preservation and protection of the ocean ahead of their own self-interests. Marina had discovered that guardianship involved more than just authority and duty, it also required being on the lookout for danger. No matter the cost, she promised to always defend the ocean and all that called it home. Marina first dreaded the burden of accountability that accompanied her newly acquired abilities. But with time, and with the help of the mermaid elders and her understanding of the ocean, she managed to harness them. As Marina assumed the responsibility of guarding the water, she realized that her abilities were a calling rather than merely a gift. It was her job to bring the ocean's equilibrium back after the careless mermaids had damaged it. Using her abilities to stop the harmful mermaids and repair the harm they had caused, Marina accepted her duty as the ocean's defender. She swam into the ocean's depths, generating healing energy currents that cleared the waters and restored the species' habitats. She would set up her body to create the strong waves that would uproot the coral and carry trash and pollution into the deep ocean, far from the homes of the creatures. The water turned so transparent that the ocean floor was visible. Marina came to understand that the tides might be utilized to safeguard the ocean and its inhabitants in addition to being a natural force. She discovered how to manipulate the tides to keep dangerous trash and contaminants out of the animal habitats. Marina was looked up to by the other mermaids, who sought her advice and insight in safeguarding the ocean. They put in endless effort as a team to protect the ocean and its inhabitants. Marina was proud to be the ocean's defender because she understood that many aquatic animals relied on her abilities. It was a tremendous and noble undertaking, but she knew that she would do everything within her ability to defend the ocean and all of its creatures as long as she possessed her powers. She knew who she was, a protector and the keeper of the blue that lay beyond her reach, finally living up to her potential. Since taking on the role of ocean guardian, Marina has greatly increased her self-assurance and power mastery. She learned invaluable lessons from her experiences, which increased her love and appreciation for the water. She sensed it calling to her, beckoning her to venture into its furthest corners and unearth new marvels. While Marina loved her job as the ocean's guardian, she was equally eager to discover the secrets that awaited her beyond the horizon. With a mission to uncover the mysteries and wonders of the ocean, she set out on a voyage to explore its furthest reaches. Exploring every nook and cranny of the underwater environment, Marina dove into the ocean's depths. She came across new species of animals, each one more amazing than the last. In her role as their guardian, she swam alongside enormous schools of fish, darted around coral reefs, and interacted with friendly sharks and whales. She came onto fascinating things as she dove deeper into the sea, such as secret underwater caverns that shimmered with light and crystals. She came to hydrothermal vents, which shot gas and boiling water out of the ocean floor, and she was astounded by how hardy animals were able to survive there. Through her voyage, Marina learned that the ocean was enormous and teeming with life, and she was astounded by its splendor. She came upon large marine turtles and accompanied them on their migrations to isolated beaches to deposit their eggs. Marina discovered that as she carried on with her journey, she was investigating a region of the ocean that she had never seen before and that was home to glowing aquatic life. Swimming in the ocean gave Marina a sense of freedom, and it was then that she saw something so incredible that it took her breath away. A halo of light encircled the immense underwater city. She could see observatories, biodomes, and human settlements that breathed water as she swam closer to the city. She found it unbelievable. She had come onto a society of mermaids that coexisted peacefully with the sea and one another. Marina was humbled and appreciative of the chance to discover and take in the ocean's wonders. She came to understand that the expedition had given her valuable insights into the wonders and majesty of nature, as well as the significance of preserving the ocean and all its inhabitants. After her adventures, Marina came home a more knowledgeable and experienced mermaid. She was aware that she would always treasure the recollections of her travels and the amazing things she had encountered. She vowed to guard the ocean with even greater ferocity after that day and to tell other aquatic species about her experiences. Marina has spent several years honing her skills as the ocean's protector. She was able to secure equilibrium and well-being, heal the ocean and its inhabitants, and travel its great lengths thanks to her abilities. However, these gifts came with a high cost, and Marina was forced to make the ultimate sacrifice of sacrificing her skills in order to save her home on the ocean. Marina first noticed something strange in the water. The ocean's equilibrium was being disrupted by a strong force endangering all marine life and its environments. She learned that a group of renegade mermaids had found an ancient gem with abilities beyond their grasp when she went to investigate by swimming closer. These mermaids desired to increase their powers and become immune to harm by using the crystal's power. Marina realized then that she had to do something. She sprang into action, challenging the rebellious mermaids to a fight for the crystal. The mermaids engaged in vicious combat because they misjudged Marina's willpower and exaggerated the potency of her abilities. Marina became aware of the price of her abilities as the fight dragged on. It was severely depleting her energies and physically. She realized that carrying on with the battle would only put more people in jeopardy and damage the ocean irreparably. Love-driven, Marina knew what needed to be done. She focused on using her powers one final time, gathering all her strength. She lost energy as she built a powerful force that would divert the mischievous mermaids from their intended course and bring the ocean's ecosystem back into harmony. After then, Marina understood how much she had given up. Her powers were completely destroyed by that strong force. She would never be able to heal the ocean and its inhabitants again, swim as quickly, or produce currents. Her future consisted of living a typical life by the sea. Though Marina wept and lamented the loss of her abilities, she knew in her heart that it was for the best. Now that she had given her everything for her home by the sea, she could move on. She had sacrificed her abilities to protect something greater than herself, something she loved. From that moment on, Marina evolved into more than just the ocean's protector. She was revered by all marine life as the pinnacle of love and sacrifice. Marina was aware that her tenure as the ocean's protector was drawing to an end after making her sacrifice. It was not her intention for her legacy to end with her. She started to consider how she could impart her skills and understanding to a new generation of mermaids, guaranteeing that the sea would always be guarded and that the tide's power would be used for good. In order to teach them the ways of the guardians, Marina sought for young mermaids who had a love for the ocean. She taught them how to use their abilities for the protection of the ocean and instilled in them a profound respect for its harmony and beauty. Marina told the young mermaids about the creatures and challenges they would experience along the way, sharing the wisdom she had collected along the way. As Marina's pupils developed, they discovered topics beyond ocean ecology. They discovered how to flow and move gracefully, to trust the tide and lean in, and to absorb the tranquility of the sea into every aspect of their being. They discovered that the ocean was always speaking with them, that they could converse instinctively, and that they could listen without passing judgment. In order to safeguard the habitats of the ocean, Marina's kids also learned the value of cooperating and exchanging knowledge. They put forth endless effort to repair harm done to ecosystems and stop more pollution caused by careless human activity. Marina's students developed into strong ocean protectors over time, determined to make sure the water was never damaged again. Using their abilities, they shared the beauty and strength of the ocean with everyone who would take care of it and protected its inhabitants. Future generations of mermaids benefited from the information that Marina's students imparted, perpetuating her legacy. Her students' hearts were planted with the strength and love she had given them, and this growth would never end. In the end, Marina was confident that her life's work had been accomplished. With all of her strength, she had safeguarded and adored the ocean, making sure that it would endure and flourish for many years to come. Her legacy was the assurance that the sea would always be guarded and that the tide's strength would always be utilized for good.